Well, let's talk now to Paulo Nogueira Batista Jr, who's former executive director of the International Monetary Fund. Good to see you again, Paulo. Welcome back to the programme. So clearly there is some last-minute negotiations going on, but tariffs for countries that don't have a deal with the United States due to kick in from tomorrow, August the 1st. This is a real moment of uncertainty, isn't it? What could this mean for global trade?
Well, global trade is being disrupted as never before, at least in my lifetime, by the actions of the United States. The United States is increasing average tariffs considerably. At the same time, there's no clear prospect of what the tariff levels will be because the stance of the U.S. president changes all the time. It's either up or down. You don't know where he actually is heading to. But the fact is that trade is already being hurt because of the uncertainty, and also because tariffs have indeed risen relatively to what they were before Donald Trump came in. So this is a disruption of international trade. Countries all over the world are being affected. Even countries like Brazil that were in the first phase not very much seen as a target have now become in recent weeks a major target of the U.S. administration.
Well,
and the reasons are quite complicated to understand.
Well, I want to ask you specifically about Brazil, which doesn't have a deal. So 50% tariffs will be taking place on imports there. What does that mean for Brazilian exporters, do you think?
Well, the U.S. is an important market. It's the second largest economy in the world after China, the second largest trading country after China. And Brazil exports considerably to the United States. Now, the confusion is very big because yesterday the U.S. government announced that the 50% tariff will not apply to all Brazilian exports to the U.S. There are a great number of exemptions, including airplanes, orange juice, and a number of others. So the calculations that have been circulating since yesterday are that about half of Brazilian exports to the United States will be affected by the tariff level of 50%. Now, who knows what's going to happen? It was supposed to kick in August 1st, tomorrow, but now it has been delayed in the case of Brazil to August 6th, apparently because some sectors in the U.S. itself are protesting, are pressuring the government not to apply so high levels of tariffs to imports that they need for their consumers, for their enterprises.
So some countries are still working towards a deal. What about those countries that are still trying to come to an arrangement? What leverage do they have, if any?
Well, if you look at the deal that was announced with the European Union, it's very unfavorable to the Europeans, so far as I can perceive. Tariffs will rise in the U.S. and will remain low in the European Union. So the European Union apparently has a fiasco on its hands in terms of negotiations with the U.S. Now, other countries have been more firm. China has been, in my opinion, an example of how to respond to a bully like Donald Trump. You have to be firm and to exert pressure and to act in a retaliatory manner if necessary. Whether the Brazilian government will do that or not is still open to question. President Lula has announced that he will apply retaliation measures if necessary. And I think, so many countries around the world have been affected by these drastic tariff moves or threats that I think there should be more understanding among the countries as to how to respond to the U.S. I think the best way is the Chinese approach, to be surgical, target specific sectors that can harm the United States and that are not costly for the country. This is, I think, the best approach to follow instead of relying on average tariffs as the U.S. has been doing.
Thank you so much for coming on the programme and for joining us today. That's Paulo Nogueira Batista Jr, the former executive director of the International Monetary Fund.